Welcome back to DHN. I'm Wade Teamer. So, tokenization of real world assets has been the topic of discussion recently. We just came off of the whole hysteria between, in regards to Hedera, Archax, BlackRock, that whole situation. But you want to know something, guys? It really gave me a lot of clarity. It really helped me understand what each individual chain or ledger's position is when we see partnerships like that. Now, when it comes to tokenization and Stellar, it's one of their 4 primary use cases. We've gone into it a number of times on the channel, and one of their biggest players when it comes to tokenization of these assets is Franklin Templeton. Now, a few years ago, they launched this US government money fund on the Stellar blockchain. And as a matter of fact, almost a year ago to the day, they announced that they surpassed $270 million. Now, all of that was on Xlm, and we can check our website, rwa.xyz, in a moment to see that. But what we have now is they've reached 380 million, and it's also tradable on Polygon now. Now, you may be thinking, this is a bad look for Stellar. What's going on here? That's not necessarily the case, guys. Like I said, the whole HBAR, Archax, BlackRock thing really gave me a lot of clarity on the actual positioning of these chains with these types of relationships. The whole name of the game is to create instruments and financial tools that can move across multiple chains that will serve different parts of the world. Simply put, ladies and gentlemen. But let's dive into the story and get a little bit more details. And then after this, I'm going to kind of take you around the tokenization landscape for Xlm. Now, Franklin Templeton has tokenized $380 million treasury funds on the Polygon and Stellar blockchains to enable peer-to-peer transfers without intermediaries. What this means now, and it's so funny because it makes me think of that unified financial markets theory and the FinP2P network that Onera used in collaboration with the whole Archax, Hedera, BlackRock's instrument. Their goal was to build a network where these instruments can be traded from one chain to the next. Well, it seems like Franklin Templeton was already on that same trajectory, and that's how we got this relationship here. So what's going to happen is these shares, which will be represented as Benji tokens, which you can get in the Benji app if you want to get it on Stellar. But now these Benji tokens are going to be tradable from Stellar to Polygon and vice versa. That's going to dramatically open up the channels for investment when it comes to getting into these types of products. So just for a little context, guys, this goes back to at least 2019. And what we're looking at here is the prospectus that Franklin Templeton filed with the SEC. So for those asking, is this actually legit? I'm not reporting from a news site. I'm giving this to you from the SEC archives, the Edgar system, as well as Franklin Templeton themselves. But in this prospectus, guys, from 2019, they talk about Stellar's involvement and specifically hint at what the future plans was. And reading that article, I now see that it has come to fruition. Now, it states, although the fund's transfer agent will maintain the official record of share ownership in book entry form, that means Franklin Templeton, the ownership of the fund's shares will also be recorded on the Stellar network, an electronic distributed ledger that is securing using cryptography. They go on to say, at this time, 2019, shares of the fund are not currently available for purchase, sale, or transfer from one shareholder to another shareholder, or i.e. peer-to-peer, on the blockchain or in any secondary trading market. The fund's investment manager believes that blockchain-based shares will provide increased transparency to fund shareholders and may, in the future, permit reduced settlement times and provide other benefits to funds shareholders. And we go back to this article here. Franklin Templeton's integration of blockchain technology into his financial operations aims to enhance the liquidity and efficiency of asset management. The firm is responding to a growing demand amongst financial institutions to meld traditional financial structures with modern technology solutions. Folks, if you happen to have read that article that I have pinned in the previous video on Hedera and BlackRock, the unified financial markets theory. What they're focusing on are accounts. This is an account-based economy. And the thing is, those accounts that have been in place for almost 100 years now, they're digitizing. That was the whole purpose behind ISO 20022. That's the reason why we need to keep an eye on those projects associated with it, because they have the updated coding to handle these transactions. That's as deep as I'm going to get into it, because it will throw us off, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, Franklin Templeton, when it comes to tokenization, they're definitely one of the biggest players in the space here, guys. And you can see we're looking at the holders of this fund. The numbers are low now, but I definitely believe that they're going to increase over time now that we have 2 chains instead of 1. It's all a good look. Like I said, coming out of that Hedera BlackRock situation, it really made me focus in on exactly where each asset lies when we hear partnerships like that. Because the biggest argument was, did BlackRock go directly to Hedera, sit in front of their computers and process this transaction? None of this stuff is going to work like that. It's a situation where you have Franklin. They go to another third-party tech company who has a relationship with Stellar. That third-party tech company, working on behalf of the big organization, uses the open source software that Stellar provides to everyone in order to make this happen. And then the way it gets reported, that will over time improve, ladies and gentlemen, and that will give us more clarity. But the core element to pay attention to is that setup. What third-party company is going to tie themselves to a much larger organization that will then use the open source technology of chain A, B, or C? That's the process, guys. I really wanted to get that off my chest. And now I'm just going to go into the rest of the tokenization landscape for Stellar, because funnily enough, I was actually preparing a video to show you some of the more powerful assets that are running on Stellar itself. Like, for example, Relio. This is an OG project, been around for quite some time, and they focus on the real estate side for Stellar. And it's pretty interesting. This token is actually was up 7% this morning when I started recording, but you can get this token on Stellar's Lobster wallet. You can also trade it on Stellar's exchange, which is Stellar X. And guys, just in case you're curious, their initial tokens were launched on Stellar first. Then they expanded to the rest of these projects that you see listed here: Ravencoin, Fusion, which is one I haven't heard of, ETH, Binance, and the, Algorand as a standard asset. So when it comes to tokenization of real world properties, the players have been there for Stellar. Here's Huma and ARF, with the support of the Stellar Development Foundation, provided a liquidity on demand solution backed by real world asset tokenization and Circle stablecoin USDC, enabling more than $1 billion in cross-border payments. Since then, there has continued to be unprecedented demand for major global payments players, currently at $500 million a month. That's the target market here, ladies and gentlemen. And then we have another one more recently. 2023, ABN AMRO issues tokenized corporate bond on public blockchain. You want to know which public blockchain that was? Ownership of the digital asset was recorded on the Stellar blockchain after payment was received. Hence, conventional payment was used, i.e. fiat, but in the past, ABN has also worked with Ethereum and private blockchains. We have another situation where the bond was given to a third party, and then that third party then used Stellar's open source technology to make everything happen. So it's not ever going to be a direct Well, it can be. Don't get me wrong. It has happened before. MoneyGram is working directly on top of Stellar, that whole network, right? But we're also going to see situations like this where a third party company, there's always that third party, the intermediary, that's going to connect the traditional company with the blockchain company, with the Web3 company, right? Now, you also have to consider this. Smart contracts are here. I've been telling you guys for a long time, smart contracts are rare in this space. Not every chain can do them, but the ones that can, they are often the ones producing the higher powered applications that serve the biggest markets. And if you want to dig even deeper, you go over to anchors.stellar.org. And this is when you can get a full snapshot of all of the players tokenizing traditional financial instruments on Stellar. You can see Franklin Templeton's there, Circle is there. There's another company, OnClap, Link out in Nigeria, Mercado Bitcoin out in Brazil. That made a lot of noise when that happened. Novati in Australia, that Australian dollar stablecoin that's also shared across XRP and the XRP ledger as well. GMO out in Japan, that's a very interesting narrative. I need to dig into that. But what I'm going to share with you right here, though, is the relationship with WisdomTree, ladies and gentlemen. Now, when we go over here to treasuries, sort by networks, you can see WisdomTree on Stellar. They have a lot of products: 3 to 7 year treasury, 7 to 10 year treasury, floating rate, government money, long term, short term, tips. And you go over here to their offerings. Just want to verify, show you guys where this money is really at for real. You can see the same here: floating rate, short term, 3 to 7, 7 to 10, tips. So again, I show you that just to verify from both sources that these products are out here. Here's the thing though. There's another one, right? You can see right here under crypto assets, that says gold. It says gold, right? So of course, I am Mr. Curious the Cat, and I clicked that link and it took me to Stellar Expert, and it pulled up this right here. So this is gold, ladies and gentlemen. This is tokenized gold on Stellar. Stellar Expert, one, is a great tool, resource. It's the ledger and analytics platform for everything XLM. So if you really want to dig into any of these assets, start at Stellar Expert. Now with this though, you can see here on this chart, supply and accounts, not massive numbers, 388.04 pieces of gold with, what's that, 153 account holders. Now, I'm not discouraged by that number. Again, things are just getting started. It really looks like they kicked this off back in November of 2022. But when I was doing some digging into the tokenization of real world assets, things like precious metals, because when it comes to tokenization, that's what I'm looking at: precious metals, gold, silver, palladium, right? I go back over to Stellar X and you search up gold. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there's a treasure trove, no pun intended, on Stellar, being built on Stellar. You see this: gold to XLM, gold to silver, gold to USD Circle, gold to Stronghold, another powerful player in the XLM ecosystem, gold to XRP. A lot of people did not know that. What we're looking at here is a very rudimentary commodities platform. And correct me if that was the wrong term, but I'm pretty sure when you're trading assets like real estate, gold, silver, things like that, those are commodities. So there's a rudimentary commodities platform on Stellar. Now, the company that is providing this gold is MintX, okay? They precious metals tokenization, and they're using the Stellar network. Now, just to keep everything clear, when we go and look at their partners, they do list the Stellar Development Foundation and another company, ABC Bullion. We know Stellar, ABC Bullion, from what I looked up, is the leader when it comes to the gold market out in Australia, and they also have a pretty deep global impact. Reading a few articles associated, it brought up a number of things about gold tariffs, how hard it is to get gold from one country to the next. As a matter of fact, United States is listed on this website as one of the countries that does not participate in this alongside China. However, US and China, depending on where you read from, have a lot of stores of gold. That's not the main focus point here. I bring that up because I feel like it contributes to the low numbers here, as well as the low number of orders when you dig into this MintX website. But pay attention to this disclaimer. This is going to be very, very crucial, guys. Both Stellar Foundation and ABC Bullion do not endorse or recommend any Secure LC Limited or MintX products or services. Now, you may be thinking, well, that just struck this whole company from Stellar. They don't endorse it. They don't support it. They don't recommend it. Well, see, it's not their job to. That's the whole thing about open source tech. It's a situation where, okay, I upload this video and you take it and you then share it to an entire university. Now, I'm not partnered with that university. Me and you aren't even in a partnership, but I did permit you to use my technology. It's a situation like that. It's like, okay, I have this idea. You feel free to use it. Understand, though, where you got this technology from. When I read that, that put it all into perspective. And I really think that is the nature of a lot of relationships in the crypto space. Open source technologies like Stellar, like Hedera, like the XRP Ledger, like Solana, Algorand, the list goes on. They're providing the idea that someone can then take and use how they see fit. That's the simplest way I can put it. Now, that's just one case. Then we have the other case where it's a bit more direct. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've read this story yet. Stripe to resume crypto payments, starting with USDC stablecoin on numerous blockchains. Let's dig into this for a second. Fintech giant Stripe has announced its decision to once again allow customers to accept cryptocurrency payments after a 6-year hiatus. The company is starting with USDC stablecoins on Solana, Ethereum, and Polygon, according to a report from TechCrunch. The news of Stripe's re-entry into crypto payments was unveiled by the company's co-founder and president, John Collison, at the Connector Developer Conference held in San Francisco. And yes, this clip, they have the clip posted on X. I believe I retweeted it. But the name here, I want you to keep an eye on that name, Mr. John Collison, because back in 2014, a certain Stripe invested in a certain company, ladies and gentlemen, and that company, and you can see here, John and Patrick Collison, they invested $3 million into Stellar back in 2014, ladies and gentlemen. And when you go over to Stellar's introductory blog post, it does confirm that. The foundation's board is Keith Rabios, early PayPal, former COO at Square, Patrick Collison, COO of Stripe, and Mr. Jed McCaleb himself. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because they said with them getting back into crypto, they're going to go full steam. All right. And back in 2018, a few years later, Stellar jumps 20% after Stripe says it may add support for the digital coin. At that time, they didn't, but they listed the reason why. He says, we may add support for Stellar, to which we provided seed funding, if substantiative use continues to grow. This is before MoneyGram. This is before Flutterwave. This is before the UNHCR. Ladies and gentlemen, why in the world wouldn't Stellar be added? Wouldn't be the next one added? I needed to add this to this video because it, again, shows you the whole picture. These companies, organizations, they have existing financial products, financial ideas, and they want to digitize them. But they can't go directly to these companies because they know how much that would manipulate the market. Keep that in mind as well. But they can't go to a third party, a smaller company that is closer to the Web3 space, that doesn't have that much of an effect on the market. And they can have them tokenize the product, tokenize the instrument, using a tool that was given to them from an open source technology company, which is what Stellar is. So if it pumped 20% after being hinted at being added to Stripe, when they get ready to add more chains, and they said that they will be announcing that before the end of the year, well, past performance is not an indicator of future results. I understand that. But I always like to come back to that statement with, we're talking about numbers. Okay, and numbers move in pattern. With that, that's all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you found value at any point in this video, I need you to hit that like button. I also need you to subscribe so you can get more of that value. Also, if you're looking to buy some crypto, I'm currently using Uphold, where they actually just added XLM to a basket, an investment basket, alongside XRP, XDC, and Hedera, interestingly enough. And I believe Solana is the fifth one. But that's a very interesting product that you can try out. Link to that will be down in the description. After that, I get my crypto and I put it on my hardware wallet. Right now, we're using SafePal. They're one of our channel partners. So if you do use the link in the description, I thank you in advance because I will get compensated. With that, you know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.